Welcome, this is Jarvie, and I am doing a recording about our new features on PeakMonsters, specifically with the bid market. So if you're not familiar with bids, the super fast recap is that people are willing to sell for, like, let's do something more interesting. Let's go to a legendary card, maybe a legendary dice card, okay? Um, so these people are willing to sell the Lens Master for $4.20. Actually, only one person is willing to sell one BCX, and then it goes up to 425, and then 450, and then 458. You know, like it quickly goes up. But there's one card available for 420, and on the flip side, that's what sellers are willing to sell for. These are the amounts the sellers are willing to sell for. And these right here, if you go to card bids, these are the amounts that buyers are willing to buy them for. So one person in particular is willing to buy 5 cards at 278. So that's what we call a spread, the number between 420 and 278. That's a decent spread. So to make a bid, you just click on this button, bid, and then you could beat out this person, 278. So okay, let's buy a car for 279, and I just want to buy one BCX worth, or I want to buy an entire card, 11 BCX worth, with the highest level card being 11. So there we go, and then I'd hit confirm, and then I would be the highest bid, so that if a card became available at 279 or below, I would be the one to get it. So, and that's interesting because if you look at the stats for a month, the last month, and you show the average card, and there was 96 of these cards sold during the last month, and the average was 337. So right now, the sellers probably should look at the averages and say, look, I want to sell at 420. The average is 337. They're going to get a steal. If someone were to buy that card for 420, then the seller should be dancing because they bought it for, I don't know, a lot higher than the average. I mean, there's some days people were buying them for $5. Look, some days they were buying them for $5.90. But there's a lot of days, in specific, this one day that has a lot of volume. As you can see, a lot of volume on these days. They were selling them for $274. So, which makes me think that they sold them at the bid rate. Any case, that's kind of how bids works. You can make a bid, and you can bid in DEC as well. So I don't know what the DEC rate is to burn these cards. So every card has a burn rate, right? I know a quick way to I think it's 1,500 on these cards. I'm not exactly sure. So let's go back. And let's look at the bids. These bids were done in dollars, and these bids were done in DEC. It looks like the burn rate is probably 1,000 because people are bidding for 5%. You can see my bid. This is my bid is 5% above of the burn rate. And then I did some more just for I'm willing to spend $2 on these cards, which is well above the burn rate. Any case, and then someone said, well, I'm willing to buy them, 6% above the burn rate. In any case, and that burn rate is 83 cents. So those are some interesting numbers to look at. The burn rate's 83 cents. I'm willing to pay $2.04. Someone else is willing to pay $2.78. We looked at the average is 370, or what was it, 370? And then the sellers right now are willing to sell at 420. So all those factors come into play. If someone was willing to or wanted to really get these cards to play with, not like me, I have way too many cards already. I'm not interested in building up the am building up my deck. I have tens of thousands of dollars of cards. I'm not interested in that. So all I'm interested in is getting deals. And a lot of the people that use the bid market are just interested in deals. And to that note, we have added some features to kind of show what kind of deals those people are getting. So you could use the bid market and go in there and buy the cards at just lower than list amounts or lower than the averages, or just try to be the highest deal, you know. And that's fine. PeakMonsters would love to find more people that are wanting to buy the cards slightly below the list amount. Slightly below see the spread here, 411 to 5. That's a good, that's a decent, that's not a big spread. You know, that's good. That's healthy. That's a healthy market. This isn't, you know, it's a $1 spread. This is a 140 spread. Yeah, so there you go. So it's interesting when you look here, but for those, this is our new features over here. For those that are, and most of the people using bid markets are people kind of looking for deals. People that are buying slightly above the burn rate, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8% above the burn rate, or people that are just, because if you aren't using the PeakMonsters market to sell your cards, then you won't ever be told that you are making a mistake and you're selling it for too low. If you use PeakMonsters to sell your cards, you have a lot more information now. So if I go to collections, and let's look at, it's always more fun to look at legendaries, right? So I've got a bunch of these chromatic dragons, and I can sell them at $2, and you know, I could be the lowest listed if I put it at $2.19, because they're all one BCX cards. If they were combined cards, then I'd have to list them at $158 to be the lowest. And then I could say, okay, look, there's some people willing to buy at $175. I'm not actually sure how many of them, but I am going to sell these cards at $175. Okay, actually, let's pretend I'm on another market that doesn't help the users. I'm gonna list them, you know, like the best price was $159. Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna beat that price and list them for, sell them for $158, you know. Okay, so then we review, and actually we don't have it. We don't have a an error message. I've been telling people that there's an error message if you sell below the bid rate. That's not true. You need to look at this number. So that's why we put it here. Look, the best bid is 175. Don't sell below 175. I was calling people dumb for selling them way low. Okay, we'll look into putting that little error message, but I think it may be complicated. That's why we didn't do it. But at least we added this. So when you're going in to sell a card at don't sell it below the best bid. That's for sure. So I'm going to sell them for $1.75. Review, confirm, and someone is going to go into there, and then we can go to My Explorer and refresh this. It may take a moment for it to hit the market. There it is. There's my 2 cards have been added to the market. And then what we should see is someone come in and buy the cards. There we are. Boom. Took a couple moments, but someone bought one of the cards. So the bid was probably only for 1 card. So I should have looked to see how many cards were willing to be purchased at that amount. Anyway, so that is a new feature. If you go into collections and you're selling stuff, we're going to inform you better about what the going rate is on the bids. So if I wanted to sell one of these cards, there we are. I could sell it at 4.5 cents. Okay, so that's one of the features. The other is, if we look at my personal account, we're going to tell people the kind of deals that they got, because people weren't looking at the bids on PeakMonsters, and therefore, like this person obviously probably did. I bid 51.2 cents on the card, and they probably looked at PeakMonsters and said, okay, I will sell it to you for 51.2 cents. And the bid was matched. But in this case, they sold it to me for 2% less than what I bid for. 1% less, 1% less. And then a lot of these don't say bid match, but they say see details. That's because I personally end up getting a lot of cards that are multi-BCX. A while back, when we added the ability to buy, like you could only buy cards with DEC in bid markets, and in regular market, you can only use DEC. We also allowed multi-BCX cards. So if we go into these, you're going to see any of these C details are going to be BCX cards. And then we'll see all this information. So I bought the card for $5.85, and it's telling me, PeakMonsters telling me that I got this card for 31% less than what it is listed for right now, and 19% less than what my bid was for. And it's 5 times, it's 5 times more than the burn rate. But that's understandable because it is a summoner. The summoners are always way higher than the burn rate. Okay, so let's look at another one. So see details, and we'll do something a little more interesting. $11 card. See details. So when we pull up all this information, we're able to calculate it over here. So negative 35%, 1% below the burn rate. Again, it is a summoner, and so therefore it was a bit more. Let's go down to this one was matched. This one, okay, right here, $1.50, and again, another summoner. I put a lot of bids for summoners. I guess that's comes with the territory. Here's a non-summoner. Yay. Okay, so 53% below what it's listed for now. They essentially matched my bid. So not terribly, it's not like deal hunting. Okay, here's a fun one. It is 6% above the burn rate. And they matched my bid again. Let's see. 15% below list, 1% below my bid, and 5% above the burn rate. So that's actually a really good card to jump in and get. So these are interesting information if you want like more of a breakdown. And I am not a super active bidder. There are people that will get more bids fulfilled in one day than I did the whole entire month. I haven't updated my bids in months. Most of my bids are very, very low. I have way too many cards already. I'm not looking at building a collection, but I am interested in getting some deals. Like if my bids start going away a lot more and I don't get very many of them, I am fine with that. I would love to see the market be healthier and the card prices go up more than I want to get like random deals. So here we go. If you look at, I took these numbers that each of those cards was showing, and I put them into a spreadsheet, and it calculated everything else, right? So on average, I get my cards 48.5% lower than the list rate, okay? And I spent $84 in the last month. But my bids, some of them are matched. So when you see the 0, people have come in and matched my bids. But in general, it's 30.3% lower than my bid rate. So it pays to have the highest bid, because often people won't look at the actual bids, what people are bidding for, and they just sell their cards for something, and they don't realize that someone out there was willing to pay more than what they were selling it for. So if you take my It's not very big, 44 cards. The average was 30%. And I am, like in general, I'm buying a lot of summoners, so I'm buying above, way above, twice above the burn rate. And someone was asking, I'm not seeing the current bid info from, okay, I'm going to answer your question here in just a moment. Let me finish this one up. But then I went a step further and I calculated my actual savings. So savings compared to the listed card rate. This card I got for $21 cheaper. So that was my biggest savings. But the other ones, dollar, I saved 43 cents, all that stuff, right? Based on my bids, I was still doing pretty well. Saved $13, even based on what I was willing to pay. So basically, I said, hey, look, I'm willing to pay $97 for these cards. And yet I still only paid $84. There's another thing. PeakMonsters basically said with our account, we said when we started the bid system, we said we are willing to create a floor. We're willing to pay 5% above burn rate for any and every single card on the entire market. And there are a lot of cards. There are hundreds and hundreds of cards, and then there's gold versions of them. So there are, 400, I don't know how many cards there are. But every single one of those, we're willing to pay 5% above the burn rate. And I think maybe a couple of them we put 6%. I think most of them are 6%. I'm not sure. Actually, it looks like 5% if you look over here. Most of them are being bought at 5% above the burn rate. And yet some people still sold them to us below the burn rate. Well, anyways, in a given month, we sold 25 cards, or we bought 25 cards and spent $106 because there was a couple of cards, this gold legendary, right? Someone sold it to us 5% above the burn. So they were all right. They did well. It's worth 12% below the listed. So right now we could go in and list all 28 of the, 25 of these cards, and a lot of them are multiple cards, right? So all, like 30, 40 of these cards, we could list them all and say sell them at list rate. And if we sold them all, we would be making 33% above our money. Is that's essentially what I'm saying. We bought $106 of cards. If we listed them all right now, or at list amount, or maybe slightly below list amount, 1% below list, I am telling you that we would get $130 if they all sold. $133, I don't know, $140. And so therefore our profit would have been 30 something percent. Or I mean, yeah, 30, it says 33%, but I'm saying that if you listed them 1% below, then you would, I guess that'd be 32% or something like that. So I'm saying you'd make $30. And in this case, even if we burned the cards, I'm not saying it would be 13% is what we would make, because you have to calculate the fact that some of these cards are worth a lot more. So we lost DEC on this one, we gained on this one, and when it comes down to it, we spent 122,500 DEC, and we ended up with 128,000 DEC worth of cards. We could burn them right now and make 4.4%. But probably not going to do that. I mean, we're interested in making money, so might as well list them and make even more. But all we did was to establish a floor. So we don't mind if someone comes in there and says, look, I'm willing to buy, go into here. Look, go into here. Where's the market? Let's open up a new page. So go into the market, do a rarity bid. Give it a moment. It's loading everything. It's probably slow internet. Come on. Oh my gosh. Good thing I'm recording this separately. Sorry, my internet just crapped out on me. We're gonna have to wait for that. Maybe it's a good time to end the presentation. I wanted to show you how to do something very specifically. Okay. Rarity bid. Okay, it's up and running. So this card, this untamed common card, is you can burn for 10. I have said that I want it 5% above it. Go ahead and beat it. Like, go to 7% above it. Because chances are, so far, and I mean, I haven't done the statistics on every card out there, but the statistics usually say that if someone's doing this, they're often, there's people willing to, that are selling them for less than the bid. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for you, but in the end, if you get a card that's super, super cheap, at least you'll get them for typically way below list, so you can go in and sell them for list. So I am saying beat our bids. I don't care. Go in and beat my bids. Most of those bids that we're winning on are these gold cards or I don't know, just random stuff, right? Also, if you are creating a new collection, this is amazing for you. Go look at the spread. Okay, like, would you rather buy it at 2.3 cents? Or, this one says 1.8, so the spread is actually very small. 1.8 cents to 1.6. So it's not very big. So maybe it's worth your time to go buy the 1.8 cent one. Or you can bid for 1.7 cents, and maybe some of them will be sold to you at, that's the max. Some of them may be sold to you at lower than that. I'm not saying that that's always the case. But statistically speaking, over the course of hundreds of cards, it is always the case, statistically speaking. So, so some interesting stuff for sure. You could go into, especially the spreads get much larger, 99 cent, 81 cent. That's pretty healthy. I've noticed bids has gotten, well, this isn't very healthy, 75 cents to 40 cents. I am interested if we did a month long on the Mythica. Where's the Mythica one? Okay, so I'm going to show charts. The average is 56 cents. The low right now for someone selling a card, 75 cents, and the high for someone wanting to buy a card is 40 cents, and they're only willing to buy 5. So you could come in here and say, look, I need 46 of these, do a bid for 57 cents. You're still making a killing compared to what if you were to buy it right now. A little bit of patience will save you a lot of money. A little bit of patience plus the bid system will save you a lot of money for someone trying to create a collection. Most of the people in here right now are people that are just trying to get good deals, and they are getting them. So I think that's the end of what I wanted to share, recapping what we've done. And I mean, I just was willing to show my bid amounts, what I've been bidding for. I am not the most active bidder. There are people that will buy dozens of cards through bids every single day because they know what's up. They get, and some people complain, oh, this person's buying all the bids. Yeah, because he recognizes that the spread is ridiculous on some of these cards. Some of these cards is good, and maybe that's him saying, look, I'll buy them at 32 cents because I know I'm probably going to get them way below the list price. So I'm willing to take that chance. Some of them will match them, and some people are going to sell them to me for a really good deal. So, yeah. Okay. So there was one question. Let's see if I can quickly answer it. I'm going to go look on the text. So the question here, so I'm not seeing the current bid info from my card page. So, well, that would signify probably that there are no bids for that card, but that doesn't make sense. And that may be something that we need to fix. If anyone else sees this, let us know. Also, yeah, that's interesting. So let me go to Goblin Shaman. So Goblin, and that is a beta card. And that is not an epic card. And there are bids for it for sure. Interesting. I've got a lot of cards to go through, so it takes a moment. And I see it. So we'll look into it as to why it wasn't working for you. If you refresh the page, let us know if it's still an issue. It may have just been a temporary blip. So I think that is the end of our recap on bids. For sure, go for it. I mean, it is awesome. It is so good. There is no cheaper or better way to get cards. If you went somewhere and you're like, oh, but they give me a kickback, that doesn't even slightly compared to what you're going to be able to get using bids. And it makes the whole market healthier, and it's just awesome. I believe in it a lot. I see no reason not to. And hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks, and have a good day.